Welcome in, everybody, to another episode of the Strength for Your Purpose podcast. Hope you all have had a great week. I know I have. We are back here this week. We had a couple of solo episodes the last 2 weeks, both on different aspects of back pain. So I encourage you all to go check that out. Went on a deep dive on a few things, but this week we are back to our interview format here. You know, you all know how much I love interviews, meeting new people, sharing their stories with you all, and am really, really excited about this one because there are so many inspirational stories kind of rolled into one in this one. And I think this is something that you all are going to get a lot out of, learn a lot from, be inspired by. And it's kind of a story right here in our backyard, and really from a few different corners of Maine here, all sort of coming together and producing something that is going to be really beneficial to a lot of people. So without further ado, we're going to kind of dive right in here. This week, I am being joined by the authors of A Dog and His Boy, the Adventures of Spillway and Scotty. So I'm being joined by Heidi Bullen and Lisa Wentzell and Lisa's husband, Scott. And, this is, again, a very inspiring story. I was really touched when I heard about this through my friend Nancy, who connected all of us here. And right off the top here, Lisa, Scott, this was a story inspired by your son. So tell us a little bit about yourselves and some of the inspirations behind this story.
Sure. We're happy to be here talking about Scotty, our son, who was born in 2000 when Scott and I were living at Sugarloaf, and that's where we know Heidi from. And when he was born with a congenital heart defect and had open heart surgery at 5 days old and then at 6 months old. But also in between that, we went to a geneticist and he was diagnosed with a rare syndrome. So we, at that point, had no idea what to expect about what his future would be like. So it was kind of a day by day for us with him. And slowly we got him into doing different things like horseback riding, skiing, swimming, and surfing. And that's where kind of the inspiration came for me. Was I wanted people to know all the things that Scotty's doing. And even though he's nonverbal and didn't walk until he was 6 and just does things differently, he still is able to live life to the fullest and have fun. And we are able to do that through this book. Thankfully, Heidi, when I asked her if she would write this book with me, she said yes. And it just kind of came together with our illustrator, Claudia, who is also from Sugarloaf.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Well, no, that's incredible. And like I said, there's so many different directions I want to go here, and so many things I really want to learn about and get out there. But Heidi, aside from knowing the Wentzell family and being kind of familiar with this a bit from the beginning, what was it about this idea that really spoke to you? Because you're a 3rd grade teacher. And what about this really spoke to you, even aside from the personal connection that you had with the family?
Yeah, I think, just being in the education system and working with children day in and day out, teaching children about compassion and empathy and knowing that we all are unique and have differences, and that everybody matters, and I think oftentimes, like Lisa said, when we come across a child that is nonverbal, you might think that they don't understand what you're saying to them. And it is so amazing. And it's just the process. We've spent a lot of time going to schools and sharing the story.
Yeah.
And for me, that has been incredibly powerful, to watch children and see how they respond to Scotty and how they take in the message. And, the whole purpose is, really for us to show children and everybody that every encounter that we have is an opportunity to make an impact on somebody. And make their day better and show them that they belong.
Yeah. Wow.
Phil, I might add to that as
Yeah.
dad, I think one of the things that really resonates for me here that is, I think, brilliant about this book is that it's told from Spillway's point of view, and it's a book about friendship at its core between Scott and his what I call the completely real stuffed dog named Spillway,
Yeah.
who is best friend and does everything with him, and that's kind of the underlying basis for the storytelling piece of this is their friendship, and it's all told through Spillway's eyes, which I give these guys a ton of credit for doing that because I think it's just a great storytelling way to relate to the kids that are the audience for the book. They really, I think that part of it really helps tell the story, and it's also about all the friendships we've developed in our community that's allowed us to do all these amazing things with Scotty, and it talks about that in the book, and they purposely have a listing of a lot of the organizations that we've worked with over the years to do all these great adventures with Scotty Spillway. And so I love that sort of thread that runs through it. It's community, it's friendship, and it's about acceptance, which we've felt from our community all through Scotty's life. And I think spreading that message is really, I think, at the core of the book.
Yeah. Heidi, what you said, and then Scott, what you added on there, and even back when our mutual contact here connected all of us, and she was showing me the book. I got chills when you were talking about like it's through the eyes of Spillway. And to your point, Heidi, it's amazing. I've got a almost 4-year-old and a 7-month-old, so we're doing plenty of reading, right? No one else can read, only my wife and I can read at this point, but we're working on it. But the 7-month-old just not catching on quite yet, but not kidding. It's pretty obvious when you see a message coming out of a book and people's clever way to get that message across. And to another part of your point, I think it's very common for us as adults, parents, aunts, uncles, whatever we are to some of these children, to kind of wonder how much of anything is kind of like going over the head of kids, let alone whether they have any sort of developmental delays or they're verbal or not, right? And then that's even amplified, to your point, when we think about people who have gone through life with overcoming some of the things that Scotty has and having all those amazing experiences that he's had. So you're exactly right, Scott. The choice to have this told through the eyes of the real stuffed dog, or the stuffed dog that's real, Spillway, is a fantastic choice. So tell us a little bit about how Spillway came to be. I think that'd be really interesting to know.
Sure. So Scotty never was very interested in small stuffed animals. And I was at LL Bean one day, and it was around his birthday, and I saw Spillway, the yellow lab, and they also had a black lab too, made by Melissa and Doug. And I was thinking maybe he might like the life-size dog. And I figured that'd be a great birthday gift for Scotty. So on his 9th birthday, he opened up Spillway, and they've been together ever since. And
wow.
And once we got him, we figured we needed to name him somehow. And since we were living at Sugarloaf in the early 90s, we just pulled out the trail map, went across all the trails, and we were stopped on Spillway and said, that's it. And that's how he got his name.
Tote Road didn't resonate quite as well as Spillway. I think we got the right name. So.
Yes.
Yeah. I think so. I think you picked, I think you chose wisely. Heidi, another question's kind of popped up in my head here as we talk about the origins of Spillway here. That could be another book. You guys are more than welcome to take that. That's yours. That's free. No royalties or anything. But aside from your experience with children and knowing that they would like a story that involves a dog, are there some things maybe, developmentally, or things that children are learning at that time would even make that choice resonate more to them than it being from a child's point of view about that dog? Like was that also a little bit of a of a well-informed choice, not just like an audience attention grab choice on your part, or was it more like, hey, I know that this is just going to resonate more with kids who we're trying to get this message across to?
Yeah, so children love animals. They especially love dogs.
Yeah.
And Lisa's mom was actually the one that she knew we were writing the book. And Lisa and I had talked about writing the book. She had come to me 10 years before it actually happened, probably. And there was just never enough time. And then COVID hit, and I was like, okay, now's the time. We were like, we can do it now.
Mm.
And Lisa was talking to her mom about it, and her mom was the one that had the idea of writing from Spillway's perspective, and I thought it was brilliant. And I think children really connect with that. And like I said, when we were doing the school visits and stuff, when we have that opportunity, we kind of save Scotty and Spillway for the big finale. And we're like, after we share the book, we're like, would you like to meet the real Spillway and Scotty? And they come out, and one of Scotty's favorite things to do is give fist bumps. And so all the kids line up, and they just are giving fist bumps to Scotty and Spillway. And they're like, can I touch the dog? You know, we're like, yeah, you can touch the dog.
Yeah, yeah.
But it's truly a pretty magical thing to watch. And it's just incredible to watch Scotty. And he's become really comfortable with all of this. This is his job.
Yeah.
And he's a star.
Yeah. Oh, that's so cool. I mean, and I didn't know that was the case. Like, go mom for coming up with
I
that idea.
know.
It's such a creative idea. But the other thing that really resonates with me there too, Heidi, and I know you'll be able to speak to this a little bit with your background as a elementary school teacher. There are so many books out there. Again, we're doing a lot of reading here, so I'm seeing this over and over again. There are so many books out there that probably are the same but different, right? But they're not that different enough that are trying to get across the same message. And I know for a fact that I've read books kind of like this to my children about how things or people are different or whatnot, but it's always told through maybe taking, something about a person and turning it into some sort of like fictional like object or something like that and explaining it that way. But to flip that whole narrative on the head and not make it necessarily about the person at all, but tell the story about the person is, I think is even more of attention grabber than just kids love dogs, right? Like something that's that different is going to be pretty impactful for kids of that age, I think.
Absolutely. And I think the other thing that connects with children is Michelle, Lisa's friend, was saying, instead of focusing on, what Scotty, can't do, make the kids have these connections, like with what Scotty can do, and like, how many of you ski? And then Lisa will jump in and say, well, Scotty skis too. And then she shares the story and the videos. And so kids are able to make these connections, and that's incredibly powerful.
Well, and yeah, the work that you're all doing by going around and presenting this to the schools as well, not just having it as a book that's available for people to read, which I know it is that too, but going out and doing the outreach to those kids, I think is huge, because that is impactful too. Like, what kid didn't love going to the gym for an assembly when they the excitement's already there. And then the way that you all are able to sort of capitalize on that and really hit the point home of all the amazing things that Spillway and Scotty have done as Scotty has grown up. It's yeah, I mean, I think you're hitting the impactfulness of the message from all angles that way. So
I have to tell you, Phil,
yeah.
You hit on something for me, because I've always called Scotty a teacher ever since he was first born with this very serious heart defect that I knew nothing about. He's been teaching me things, all kinds of things I didn't even know I needed to learn. So now I see him out in the community doing these school visits and interacting with kids and watching the sort of the lights go on in their eyes about who Scotty is and how neat it is that he does all these things. And he's just another kid, right? It's so powerful. So Scotty is now officially a teacher. I mean, for everybody.
Yeah.
Not just
Right. No, that's That's a great point. And I think all of us, if we opened our minds up a little bit more to the fact that maybe our children are molding us just as much as we think we're molding them, we're trying. I don't know if it works. I think people like Heidi are way better at us than way better at that than most parents are. But that's that's a whole nother discussion. But yeah, no, that's a fantastic point. But one of the other things that I love about this book, especially being a physical therapist, is all of these amazing things that Scotty has experienced, regardless of what he's had to battle through in his life. So, Scott and Lisa, please talk a little bit about where even like the mindset of your family came from to make all of this happen. And then of course, how Spillway's been a part of this, because I know that there's some pretty awesome things about how Spillway has been a part of all these things too. Spillway's not just telling this story kind of willy nilly, like he's experienced as much as Scotty has as well. So talk to that a little bit.
Yeah, and from when he was in developmental preschool, I was always interested in talking to other parents about what their kids were doing. And that's pretty much how I found out about a lot of activities. And horseback riding was the first one that I found out about. And that's been instrumental in his development. He didn't walk until he was 6. And the core work and balance and strength that he gained from that is why he's walking today. And he took his first steps at right before a riding lesson. He was using a walker, and all of a sudden he just started walking away from it, and it was pretty incredible. And that weekend we had gone to our camp, and all weekend we would sit in chairs and just make him walk back and forth between us. And
Still not quite believing it was happening.
yeah, it was incredible. And he's been riding since he was 4 at Riding to the Top, an amazing organization. And then because Scott and I are skiers, we knew that he had to get involved with skiing and Maine Adaptive. And so he started skiing when he was 5, and we thought that he would be in a sit ski. We had no idea there was an opportunity for him to stand up skiing. And they told us they had this device called a slider. So he is on skis, and the slider kind of looks like an H, I guess. And there are 2 poles on a ski that he holds on to it. And then there's someone that has ropes behind it, tethering it. And that's usually Scott tethering Scotty. But the first time someone else was doing that, we were watching him from the Maine Adaptive building and saw him coming down, and we were like bawling and watching him ski for the first time.
Yeah. I can imagine, because I was trying to not tear up here when you were talking about the walking. So I totally appreciate that. Yeah. And Scott, I know that you've been a pretty big part of all of these activities that Scotty and Spillway have experienced.
Yeah, it's really been amazing. I mean, I grew up doing sports and different activities and skiing all my life, and as Lisa mentioned, we have a family camp that's been in my family for generations here in Maine that I spend all my summers at. So swimming and water skiing and rafting and fishing and canoeing and all those things. And we just wanted to give Scotty as normal and as fulfilling a childhood in his life as we could, given the abilities that he has. And really, we're very fortunate that we live in an area that we have access to a lot of amazing organizations that help facilitate that and can adapt those types of activities to his ability. They do it in a way that never makes you feel like a burden or like it's work. It's always like, how can we help make this fun? And some of them have therapeutic value, and that doesn't really matter to Scotty. For him, it's just fun.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah. The best therapeutic activities are fun, especially for kids just trying to experience the world, and come up in the world. Yeah. No, that's I think that's a big, take home message for all of us, whether regardless of where we're at, whether we have kids or not, but especially if you do have kids, and whether they have any developmental delays or not, I think approaching it with that mindset will help a lot of us accomplish things with ourselves and our kids at a much higher level. And I don't mean at a higher level of completion or success. I mean in a way that probably fulfills everybody a little bit more, because what you all have done with Scotty is definitely a testament to that. That if we approach this stuff with an idea of more of, let's have fun with this, let's enjoy this, less of let's get through this and what can we accomplish out of this, I think that will give us all a higher sense of fulfillment in our lives, especially when it comes to raising kiddos.
Absolutely. Well said.
Yeah. Thank you. So Heidi, I do have one more question for you as well. Aside from writing the spinoff, The Origins of Spillway, again, that's all yours. You guys can have that. That's fine. Are there any other writing ventures that you have been a part of, or that you are maybe looking to be a part of now that the work that you all have done with this book?
Yes. So I first started, Lisa asked me about writing the book because I had written 2 other children's books for Sunday River. I wrote Eddie the Yeti and Betty the Yeti. And this book has pretty much the same format. I started writing quite a few years ago, and I wrote a book and my computer crashed and I lost it. And I haven't gone back to revisit that yet, but that book is, I think it's going to be called Lula Bella Nuna. And it's all about a little girl growing up on a lake, and she's wild and crazy. And she goes out, and the beaver and the duck and the loon and all of the creatures really don't like to see her coming. And in the end, it talks about, again, it's all about friendship and belonging. And it's kind of a funny book. And so I'm hoping this summer, that's my goal, is to put that back together. But being in the classroom, knowing what types of books children make connections to, they like laughter. They like the Scotty and Spillway book. There are some very funny things. I mean, one of the things that the children love the most is the video when Scotty is tubing and he throws Spillway off the tube, and so yes, just definitely pulling on the heartstrings, and also finding some humor and giving a message.
Yeah, that's fantastic. Where can people find the books you've already written, aside from what we're talking about today?
Well, those are pretty much sold just at Sunday River, the Eddie and Betty ones, but our other book, the book that we're talking about today, is on Amazon, and you can get it through McSee Books and L.O. Bean. Lisa, am I forgetting anything?
And Sherman's Books.
Sherman's Books, yeah.
And you can always go to our website, spillwayandscotty.com, and it has links to McSee Books, and it says where you can get our book.
Awesome. Fantastic. That's great. I wanted to make sure we got that all out there, because make sure people can find this fantastic book that we've been talking about here on this episode. So before I have one more question, and or a couple more questions for each of you that I kind of have all of my guests on the podcast ask. Don't worry, there's no wrong answer, right? They're not a trick question or anything. But before all that, Scott and Lisa, tell us a little bit about what the plans are kind of moving forward for this sort of movement here. Like what you're already doing this outreach to local schools and stuff like that. Is there anything else sort of in the works to help get this message out to people?
Absolutely. People have been reaching out to us on the website, but also just to us in general. And we have a lot of things on our schedule, and including on Thursday, we're going to the State House in Augusta, and the book is going to receive a legislative sentiment, which is very exciting.
Oh my gosh, that's fantastic.
Right. And then we're actually going to Telstar Middle School on Friday. That's Heidi's school district. And we're going to be at Buxton Center Elementary School. And we're really excited because we're going to go to Barbara Bush Children's Hospital next Wednesday. Awesome. And that I'm really looking forward to that visit, especially since Scotty has spent some time there. Elementary School is doing an abilities awareness celebration week.
Hmm.
And I love this. And the woman who's organizing this, her son received our book through Maine Adaptive because Heidi's husband, Dana, donated 250 books to Maine Adaptive and they distributed it to people.
Awesome.
And this woman's son received the book and she said it's perfect for what we're trying to teach the kids that week. So we're excited to be doing that. They're going to have a superhero walk and like a storybook walk. So we're going to be part of that. We're going to Baxter Memorial Library in Gorham. We're going to be at the Best Buddies Friendship Walk. And we're going to be at Wentzell Elementary School for their literacy night. And Scotty also goes to Pine Tree Camp, the overnight camp, and they are doing a telethon on June 1st. So we're going to go up to the Woodshed, which is the Cabin Masters, and we're going to go up there for the telethon. And there's a guy named Jay McClure, who's a musician, who we were introduced through Nancy, and he is actually writing a song about our book, and hopefully going to be debuting it that night.
Awesome.
And then we're going to be doing a presentation at Greeley or Mabel Wilson School, which is Scotty's school district, in the middle of June. So, and
that's his elementary school that he went to. So that'll be very special too.
And also CMP chose our book to be distributed to libraries and school libraries in their district, in their area, service area. So that's 600 books that they are going to be distributing.
Awesome.
So we have a lot of stuff going on. And we want to continue that. We want to keep spreading the word of inclusion, acceptance, and friendship, and sharing Scotty's story. And we are happy to go to schools or anywhere, churches, libraries, wherever we can to get the word out about inclusion, acceptance, and friendship.
And I want to do them all, but I have to teach some days.
Yeah. Yeah.
Still have to go to school, so I get sad when I have to miss so many things. But
what you're doing is important too, Heidi.
That's right.
Also, Melissa and Doug has picked us up. That's a big one.
Oh wow.
Yeah. This is a great part of the story because Melissa and Doug is the maker of Spillway and Scotty, and they're a big international toy company and maker of Spillway, the stuffed yellow lab. They don't call it Spillway, that was our name, but they now call it Spillway, I think. And so we've actually we have a formal relationship now with them, and they're gonna be promoting the book, and we're working towards maybe bringing Spillway back because they actually stopped making Spillway a couple of years ago. Oh, wow. And when we found that out, we put the story out on social media in kind of a panic because we had maybe 1 or 2 extras on hand, but he goes through them every 4 to 6 months. The legs are broken and the ears are falling off, and not because they're not well made. It's because he just goes everywhere and does everything. And
he goes tubing with Spillway. Yeah, of course. Yeah.
Tubing. Yeah. You name it. So they live a very full life. So Spillway has to go to see his barber every once in a while and get a trim. So we panicked, and lo and behold, our community reacted. They scoured the internet, bought Spillways on eBay and different retailers, and even contacted Melissa and Doug on our behalf. So we got connected with the company at that point. This is a couple of years ago now, and they sent us some that they had left in inventory. And so we probably have about 20 or 25 Spillways in our attic that are in the wings waiting to go.
Wow. Yeah. Yeah.
We also have another 20 or 25 that are the well-loved ones that we can't throw away because these are, so they're also, we have the Spillway, we call lovingly the Spillway graveyard up in our attic as well.
Right. The memorial. Yeah. Right. Here lies 50 or more Spillways. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. That's awesome. And the more you all talk about all of these efforts and endeavors and connections, aside from this book doing a fantastic job at what it set out to do, which is to talk about inclusion and celebrating everybody's differences, and the fact that you can really accomplish anything and experience anything in life with the right mindset, the right effort, the right support, and all of that. But it also speaks to a community coming together and people doing all of this for the right reasons, and anytime you have that recipe right there, home run. Home run. So that's fantastic. And I'm guessing a lot of that information, events you have coming up and things like that is a lot of that stuff listed out on your website and social medias and all that stuff.
Yes.
Yeah, fantastic. And we'll make sure we have all of that in the show notes so that people can have very easy access to the website and the social media. So if Scotty and Spillway are coming your way, you know about it. Or if you're out there listening and you want Scotty and Spillway to come your way, all of that information will be there as well. So as promised here, I've got 2 more questions I want to ask each of you because I'm really excited to hear each of your perspectives on these questions. So Heidi, we'll start with you, and we're going to kind of go down the line here. Heidi, what is your definition of strength?
I thought you said they were going to be easy.
Yeah. there's no wrong answer. That's the great part about it. The easy part is there's no wrong answer here. So
I think strength for me is really believing in something, whatever that is, and sticking to it. And I think that the harder something is, the more strength you need to get through. And yeah, that's what I think strength is.
yeah, no, perfect. That's perfect. Lisa, same question.
My definition of strength is Scotty, and he pretty much defines that. And with all that he's been through, he's persevered. He's just so stronger than anyone I know. And that's where I can get my strength from him, seeing how determined he is and how far he's come.
Awesome.
I just want to jump in and add to that too, that Scott and Lisa are some of the strongest parents I have ever met. And what they have done and the life that they have provided for Scotty is incredible. And I think, as the message that Scotty shares with everybody, Scott and Lisa are true testaments to parents who are also going through the same thing. And to see that life can be so full and so rewarding. And, I get choked up every time I talk about it because they're really inspirational.
Awesome. Yeah.
Probably.
Very, very well said. Hey, at this point, if any of us and anyone listening to this haven't at least choked back a tear, there's something wrong. And then Scott, same question. What's your definition of strength?
I think strength is something that is universal, that we all have in us. It's an energy that we get from others, from the people around us. Strength in numbers, that can mean a lot of different things, but I think at the end of the day, that's the real truth. If I can't imagine being strong if I were by myself in this life. It's the strength I get from the people around me, including Lisa and my son and Heidi and everybody that supports us, and even the people who don't. There's strength in recognizing that too.
Amen. Yeah, I love that. And for our last question here, we'll go in reverse order. So Heidi, you'll have a little more time to prepare for this. I'm not going to throw you on the spot twice here. Okay. So you're welcome. So Scott, the last question here is, what is your true purpose in life?
Well, that at this stage, it's what we're doing here, really. I mean, I don't know how to answer that any other way. It's probably had different things throughout my life, but right now it's being the provider for my family, and allowing this path and this journey to develop and take us wherever it takes us.
Yeah. Awesome. You're doing a great job. keep it up. Lisa, same question.
Yes. So I definitely think our purpose right now is what we're doing. And I finally feel like my purpose has been to make sure Scotty has lived a fulfilled and healthy, safe life. And now that we're doing this book, it's just kind of shifted to sharing our message. And I feel like that's what Scotty was meant to do too. And so what we're doing now is very fulfilling for me. It just feels really good what we're doing, especially with the response that we've been getting, and how the book has just done so much more than we ever expected. I knew it was going to do good, but it's just been beyond expectations, and it just makes me feel good and like I have purpose in life.
Yeah. Fantastic. Well, and again, you're doing a great job. So you're for fulfilling that true purpose. So keep it up. And Heidi, over to you. What is your true purpose in life?
I think to continue to educate children and adults and everyone that we all belong, and we're all unique, and we're all different, and we all have feelings, and we belong. And if we can all go through life by thinking about you rise by lifting others, I think that's a true message that we can get out to people.
Yeah. Well, fantastic message. As I've already said, you all are doing a fantastic job fulfilling your true purpose in life. And that's what these conversations and the podcast here is all about, is giving people the mental, emotional, and physical strength necessary to fulfill their true purpose in life through these inspiring stories. And as I said, if people aren't inspired or moved somehow by this conversation here and the mission that you all are out there working on and accomplishing, they have some reevaluating to do. So thank each and every one of you for coming on
But
here.
our tent is always open for them. Our tent
Yes.
is always open.
100%. But thank you all very much for sharing this with us. Thank you to Scotty and Spillway. That this is a very, very great conversation, very inspirational conversation. And I really appreciate all of your time here.
Thank you, Phil.
Thank you. Appreciate the opportunity. Thank you.
Yes.
Of course. And everybody, make sure you go check out all the infos in the show notes. A Dog and His Boy, The Adventures of Spillway and Scotty, probably coming to a school, library, or event near you. So check that out. For all of you listening out there and watching, thank you so much. This has been another episode of the Strength for Your Purpose podcast. We will see you all back here next week. And until then, go make it a great week. Bye.